In this video, we are going to discuss how we could be successful in our life in the wisdom of Stoicism. Stoicism covers all aspects of human life. Especially getting rich was always a hot topic in people's life to be discussed. So in the ancient age, it was focused more than others. In this video, we are discussing 11 rules to be adopted and get rich. Fortune also gets human intention. So if you have not subscribed our channel, please subscribe it so that you may get Stoicism wisdom about all aspects of your life and become a successful personality. I think there are very intelligent and wise people are watching this video, so please be a part of discussion about your experience about Stoicism in comment section and help us to improve our stuff in the light of your opinion. That emotionless way of thinking is brought to the table. Envision a day-to-day existence where you collect riches, yet additionally do as such with a feeling of direction and satisfaction. We will investigate how apathetic standards of discipline, flexibility, and moral independent direction can reform your monetary excursion. Find how to transform hindrances into venturing stones, disappointments into amazing open doors for development, and how to pursue monetary choices established in astuteness as opposed to dread or avarice. Nonetheless, this video isn't just about bringing in cash. It is tied in with bringing in cash work for you in a way that lines up with your guiding principle. We will show you how emotionlessness isn't simply a way of thinking. It is a viable aid for building a fortune while staying consistent with yourself. Assuming that you are prepared to change your mentality, rework your monetary story, and embrace the immortal insight of the Stoics. Remain tuned till the end, as we have a reward point for the watchers who will remain till the end. Laying out clear objectives is a crucial part of emotionlessness that can assist you with diagramming a way to monetary progress in the cutting-edge world. The unemotional way of thinking empowers an organized and deliberate way to deal with life, and this reaches out to your monetary yearnings. In the emotionless practice, defining clear objectives is established in the idea of living as per nature. To the Stoics, living as per nature implies adjusting your activities and aims to the major standards of the universe. It's tied in with perceiving what is inside your control and what isn't, and afterward coordinating your endeavors toward the previous. Putting forth clear monetary objectives is an encapsulation of this standard. At the point when you put forth clear objectives informed by emotionlessness, you start by thinking about the main thing to you. Rather than indiscriminately pursuing abundance for the good of its own, you ponder your basic beliefs and what you believe that your monetary achievement should accomplish. It's not just about having a large chunk of change. It's tied in with knowing why you needed to. This lines up with the emotionless accentuation on ideals and astuteness. Your objectives ought to be righteous and contribute emphatically to your life and the existence of others. Apathy additionally instructs that outside conditions are unchangeable as far as you might be concerned, that your considerations, choices, and activities are inside your control. This acknowledgement is the reason for defining reachable monetary objectives. You center around what you can impact, like your reserve funds propensities, venture choices, and hard-working attitude, as opposed to agonizing over market changes or financial circumstances past your power. Besides, in the event that an unemotional standard of flexibility becomes possibly the most important factor by defining clear, reason-driven objectives, you set yourself up intellectually and genuinely to confront difficulties and obstructions. Emotionlessness assists you with fostering the profound guts expected to remain focused on your objectives in any event when the excursion becomes testing. With regards to procuring a fortune with emotionlessness, putting forth clear objectives is tied in with making a guide that mirrors your qualities, lines up with your control, and sets you up to face the hardships. Might emotionlessness at any point truly make us ready to procuring a fortune in our high-speed, present-day world? An inquiry has charmed endless searchers of progress in this provocative video. We dive profound into the old insight of aloofness and its pragmatic applications in the present cash-driven society. we will direct you through an excursion of self-revelation, unwinding the key to monetary achievement. It's an update that monetary achievement ought to be a side effect of an upright life, not the sole pursuit. Thus, you can track down satisfaction and thriving in your monetary excursion. Directed by the insight of the Stoics, living inside your means is a focal monetary standard driven by unemotional way of thinking. Also, it's something beyond planning or moderation. It's tied in with adjusting your way of life to your actual necessities and figuring out the constraints of material belongings. Aloofness instructs that genuine joy comes from intelligence, temperance, and self-awareness, not from the quest for outside riches or assets. Epictetus, an unmistakable, unemotional rationalist, underscored the significance of understanding what is inside your control and what isn't. Your spending and way of life decisions are well inside your control, making it an excellent area of utilization for indifferent standards. This is the way emotionlessness impacts living inside your means. Material belongings are the way to bliss. Aloofness focuses on that the quest for material belongings can prompt superfluous cravings and languishing. By perceiving this, you can liberate yourself from the consumerist mentality that frequently pushes individuals to spend too far in the red. Center around the main thing. Living inside your means includes focusing on the main thing throughout everyday life. You recognize needs and designate your assets as indicated by your certified requirements. While diminishing abundances and negligible spending, keeping away from monetary pressure, the unemotional idea of versatility is appropriate to your monetary prosperity. By living inside your means, you assemble monetary versatility, lessening the gamble of monetary pressure, obligation, and tension. This, thus, assists you with keeping up with quietness notwithstanding outer conditions. Rehearsing happiness. Apathy energizes happiness with what you have instead of continually looking for more. You figure out how to see the value in the present and be happy with what you can manage. This viewpoint prompts more noteworthy fulfillment and inner serenity. Lining up with temperance emotionlessness places ideals at the focal point of a significant life. Living inside your means is an ethical go-about as it shows restraint and shrewdness in dealing with your assets capably. Take out inefficient enjoyment as per unemotional qualities. Living inside your means additionally implies keeping away from superfluous waste, be it through lavish buys or inordinate industrialism. You go with careful choices and assign assets where they really matter. Independence from the rat race. By living inside your means, you accomplish independence from the rat race. You are not secured by obligation or unreasonable costs, giving you the opportunity to seek after your interests, pursue moral decisions, and carry on with a day-to-day existence lined up with your qualities. Basically, living inside your means as roused by emotionlessness is tied in with rising above the social strain to collect abundance for the well-being of its own, and on second thought zeroing in on the standards of shrewdness, prudence, and inward satisfaction. Thus, you track down monetary steadiness, yet additionally a more profound feeling of satisfaction and serenity in your monetary decisions and life, all in all. Embracing difficult work is a key rule driven by an unemotional way of thinking, and it is tied in with taking on major areas of strength for an ethic while perceiving the significance of exertion and assurance in accomplishing your objectives. Emotionlessness instructs that progress throughout everyday life, including monetary achievement, is generally reliant upon our own decisions, and endeavors. The indifferent way to deal with difficult work is both pragmatic and philosophical, underscoring the accompanying spotlight on the inner. Emotionlessness puts major areas of strength for and on zeroing in on what you have some control over, which is principally your inside state. Considerations and activities. With regards to work and exertion, this implies coordinating your energy towards the errands instead of agonizing over outer variables outside of your reach. Flexibility even with hindrances. Embracing difficult work is intently attached to apathetic standards of versatility and dealing with difficulties directly. As opposed to avoiding troublesome undertakings or hindrances, emotionlessness urges you to move toward them with boldness and assurance. Worth of ideals and honesty. A Stoic's hard-working attitude is driven by ideals and honesty. It implies acting morally and with honor in the entirety of your undertakings. Difficult work, when directed by temperance, guarantees that your endeavors line up with your qualities, adding to your general feeling of satisfaction. Predictable personal growth emotionlessness advances deep-rooted personal development, and difficult work is a way to this end. Through ingenuity and ceaseless exertion, you endeavor to improve as a variant of yourself. This could incorporate working on your abilities, extending your insight, or improving your business-related skills. Careful activity, emotionlessness energizes care in your activities. You are not just buckling down for business. You are working with reason and aim. This requires self-reflection and cautious thought of your objectives and needs. Acknowledgement of cutoff points. While emotionlessness energizes difficult work, it additionally stresses perceiving your limits. You recognize that you have zero control over each result, yet you have some control over your endeavors. This acknowledgement permits you to buckle down without turning out to be excessively appended to the outcomes, which can prompt inward feeling of harmony and diminished uneasiness. Center around process, not result. A Stoic's way to deal with difficult work includes zeroing in on the actual cycle as opposed to focusing on the outcome. By submerging yourself right now and doing everything you possibly can for each undertaking, you can find happiness in the actual work as opposed to only in the prizes. It might get some supporting difficult work as driven by an unemotional way of thinking is tied in with embracing a tenacious and moral hard-working attitude while remaining fixed on what is inside your control. It isn't just about amassing abundance. It is about the excursion toward it and the personal growth that emerges from committed exertion. By adjusting your work to emotionless standards, you can track down importance and satisfaction in your quest for monetary achievement, all while keeping up with your inward harmony and respectability. Practice versatility is a foundation guideline driven by an unemotional way of thinking, underscoring the significance of creating close-to-home and mental determination to confront life's difficulties with poise and strength. This strength is priceless while seeking after monetary progress in the advanced world. Emotionlessness instructs that strength isn't tied in with keeping away from misfortune, yet about answering it in a way that lines up with your qualities and standards. This is the way the emotionless way of thinking supports flexibility, and its association with making monetary progress recognizes the idea of life. Emotionlessness advises us that life is intrinsically dubious and loaded up with obstructions. Monetary promising and less promising times are essential for the regular request. Furthermore, by embracing this situation, you become better ready to deal with difficulties without losing your close-to-home equilibrium. Re-examine means difficulties as any open doors. Apathy urges you to see difficulties as any open doors for development and learning with regards to monetary achievement. Misfortunes can act as important illustrations, rather than harping on misfortunes. Emotionlessness advances strength by moving your viewpoint to consider these minutes to be opportunities to improve and adjust perseverance through hardships. The apathetic idea of getting through challenges with mental fortitude and persistence is especially important with regards to monetary versatility. The capacity to remain focused on your monetary objectives in any event when the excursion becomes testing is a demonstration of your versatility. Emotionlessness instructs that you ought to continue in your endeavors paying little heed to outer conditions. Profound control. Emotionlessness underlines profound discretion as a critical part of versatility by dealing with your feelings because of monetary misfortunes. You can go with level-headed choices and stay away from rash activities that could intensify what is happening. Flexibility. Apathy supports versatility and adaptability. Versatility isn't just about getting through difficulty. It's likewise about your ability to adjust to evolving conditions. This flexibility can be urgent in the monetary world, where economic situations and open doors are in consistent transition. Center around what you have some control over. Apathy instructs that strength is firmly connected to the comprehension of what is inside your control and what isn't. You center your endeavors around the parts of your monetary excursion that you can impact, and you acknowledge with poise those factors that are outside of your reach. Keeping up with goodness in affliction. Emotionlessness puts major areas of strength for and on keeping up with your ethics and standards, even in troublesome times. Strength, even with momentary affliction, is tied in with pursuing moral decisions and not undermining your respectability. In Rundown, rehearsing versatility as driven by an apathetic way of thinking is tied in with developing the psychological and profound fortitude to confront monetary difficulties with effortlessness and assurance. It's perceiving that monetary achievement isn't exclusively characterized by abundance, yet by your capacity to keep up with ethicalness, profound control, and flexibility chasing your objective. Through this indifferent focal point, you can track down flexibility as a core value on your way to monetary success and generally prosperity. Focus on goodness is a basic guideline driven by an unemotional way of thinking that urges people to put moral qualities at the front of their lives, remembering their quest for monetary accomplishment for the cutting-edge world. Uprightness is the foundation of emotionlessness. Furthermore, adjusting your monetary objectives to it can prompt a more significant and satisfying excursion. Here is a nitty-gritty investigation of how emotionlessness drives the possibility of needing rising goodness and monetary issues. Ethicalness is the most elevated great. Apathy states that prudence is the most elevated great, and any remaining outer products, including riches, ought to be auxiliary to it. This really intends that while seeking after monetary achievement isn't innately off base, it ought to continuously be docile to upright standards. Arrangement with virtues. Focusing on ideals in your monetary undertakings implies guaranteeing that your activities and choices line up with your moral qualities. For instance, you could pick ventures or strategic approaches that are socially mindful and don't hurt others. Keeping away from untrustworthy pursuits. Emotionlessness urges you to avoid untrustworthy or destructive monetary practices like misrepresentation, abuse, or deceptive nature. Focusing on goodness implies pursuing decisions that are decent and together as one with your standards. Adjusting riches and shrewdness. Aloofness stresses the need to adjust the quest for abundance with intelligence. Collecting abundance isn't innately prudent, yet the way in which you utilize that riches, and whether it lines up with idealistic objectives and activities, is of central significance. Practicing discretion and righteousness requires restraint and control. Emotionlessness prompts that you don't turn out to be excessively appended to material belongings or abundance. Focusing on excellence implies knowing when to say enough and not permitting covetousness to lead you down a temperate way. Acting with honesty, emotionlessness puts areas of strength for an acting with respectability, in any event, when confronted with monetary enticements or difficulty. Righteousness is kept up with when you stay legitimate, honest, and principled in your monetary choices, adding to everyone's benefit. Focusing on prudence in monetary achievement implies utilizing your abundance and assets to add to everyone's benefit. This could incorporate beneficent giving, altruism, or interests in activities and causes that line up with your high-minded values. Tracking down satisfaction. The indifferent way of thinking instructs that genuine satisfaction comes from carrying on with an existence of righteousness, astuteness, and moral respectability. At the point when you focus on uprightness in your monetary interests, you're bound to find profound and enduring fulfillment past the momentary delight that material abundance can give. Generally, focusing on uprightness as driven by an indifferent way of thinking is tied in with recognizing that monetary achievement ought to be a way to a temperate end, not the actual end. While abundance can be a significant asset, it ought to be utilized in a way that mirrors your moral and moral qualities and contributes decidedly to your life and the existence of others. By meshing ideals into your monetary excursion, you can find flourishing, yet in addition a more extravagant, more significant presence. Deal with feelings is a critical part of emotionless way of thinking, and it assumes a huge part in making monetary progress in the cutting-edge world. Emotionlessness urges people to foster profound poise and judiciousness while managing the high points and low points of their monetary undertakings. Here is a point-by-point investigation of how emotionlessness drives dealing with feelings with regards to monetary issues. Perceiving what's inside your control. Emotionlessness establishment is the comprehension that a few things are inside your control while others are not. Your feelings fall into the classification of things you have some control over in the monetary world. This implies perceiving that while you have no control over market changes or financial circumstances, you have some control over your profound reaction to them. Embracing close-to-home flexibility. Emotionlessness puts serious areas of strength for profound versatility. This implies not permitting outside conditions, for example, a market slump or a monetary misfortune, to direct your profound state. All things being equal, you figure out how to keep up with profound serenity and viewpoint, which is especially significant in the always fluctuating universe of money. Rehearsing reasonableness. Aloofness empowers reasonable reasoning while pursuing monetary choices. Rather than responding sincerely to monetary news or market patterns, you make reasonable, informed decisions. This includes cautious examination, research, and an emphasis on long-haul objectives as opposed to transient feelings. Developing profound separation. Emotionlessness instructs that exorbitant connection to riches or material belongings can prompt profound misery. Dealing with feelings with regards to funds implies developing a sound separation from monetary results. You're neither excessively thrilled when things go well nor excessively upset when they don't. Answering difficulty with astuteness, apathy educates that in the face concerning affliction or monetary misfortunes, you answer with shrewdness and strength as opposed to frenzy or despondency. This incorporates seeing difficulties as any open doors for development and learning, and as a component of the normal rhythmic movement of life. Zeroing in on the current second. Apathy urges you to zero in on the current second, appreciating what you have now as opposed to continually longing for more. Dealing with feelings includes tracking down satisfaction in the ongoing monetary conditions while as yet pursuing your objectives. Practicing close-to-home self-restraint. Emotionlessness puts serious areas of strength for an close-to-home self-restraint, which is the capacity to keep away from hasty choices or responses driven by dread, covetousness, or other compelling feelings. This is especially significant while pursuing monetary choices that have long-haul outcomes. Perceiving the force of viewpoint. Emotionlessness shows the force of point of view. Dealing with feelings implies keeping a more extensive perspective on life's difficulties and triumphs. Perceiving that monetary abundance is only one part of a rich and significant life. In outline, dealing with feelings as driven by an unemotional way of thinking is tied in with creating profound flexibility, objectivity, and discretion while managing monetary issues. It includes understanding that feelings are influenced quite a bit by, and that your reaction to monetary circumstances can essentially affect your general prosperity. By embracing apathetic standards in your monetary excursion, you can find close-to-home equilibrium and clearness, guaranteeing that your activities and choices are directed by astuteness and reason. As opposed to uncontrolled feelings, contributing shrewdly is a monetary guideline well established in emotionless way of thinking, underscoring the significance of settling on educated and moral speculation choices that line up with your qualities and long-haul monetary objectives. Emotionlessness gives a philosophical structure to making judicious interests in both the monetary and moral sense. Here is a nitty-gritty investigation of how emotionlessness drives effective money management shrewdly. Temperate ventures. Emotionlessness puts major areas of strength for an uprightness as the most noteworthy great. While money management, this guideline drives choosing ventures that are morally and ethically sound. Focusing on ideals in your ventures implies staying away from organizations or enterprises that participate in untrustworthy practices, for example, hurting the climate or taking advantage of their laborers. Long-haul point of view, emotionlessness energizes a drawn-out viewpoint. Rather than looking for fast theoretical increases, unemotional financial backers adopt a patient and sane strategy. They center around the drawn-out capability of their ventures and keep away from incautious choices driven by momentary market vacillations. Risk the board. Apathy stresses the significance of perceiving what is inside your control and what isn't. While you have some control over your speculation choices, you have no control over market unpredictability. Apathetic financial backers deal with their close-to-home responses to advertised vacillations and arrive at the same conclusions about risk, looking to limit monetary tension. Monetary reasonability. Apathy shows reasonability in monetary issues. Savvy ventures are those that fit inside your methods. Line up with your monetary objectives and don't open yourself to inordinate gambling. This lines up with the indifferent idea of living inside your means and practicing discretion. Moral strategic policies. An emotionless financial backer focuses on organizations that participate in moral strategic policies. They are knowing about where they put away their cash and try not to help organizations that conflict with their ethical standards. This approach is in accordance with the unemotional spotlight on ethicalness and respectability, examination, and examination. Emotionlessness energizes normal reasoning and cautious examination. Unemotional financial backers lead intensive exploration, dissect possible speculations, and settle on informed choices in light of proof and rationale. They try not to go with speculation decisions dependent exclusively upon feelings or reports. Independence from the rat race. Aloofness advances the possibility of monetary autonomy and opportunity. Savvy ventures are those that add to your monetary security and future prosperity. Unemotional financial backers try to construct a portfolio that gives monetary steadiness, permitting them to carry on with a day-to-day existence as per their qualities. Careful allotment apathy energizes a careful portion of assets. Emotionless financial backers distribute their assets to different resource classes in a manner that lines up with their monetary objectives and hazard resilience. They try not to place every one of their assets in a single container and enhance their speculations carefully. Generosity and offering in return. Emotionlessness puts areas of strength on adding to everyone's benefit. Shrewd financial backers driven by apathetic standards may dispense a part of their profits to beneficent giving or ventures that have a constructive outcome on society. In rundown, contributing shrewdly as driven by an unemotional way of thinking is tied in with settling on monetary choices that reflect excellence, moral qualities, and level-headedness. It includes taking a patient long-haul point of view, overseeing risk, and staying away from rash or speculative ways of behaving. By embracing apathetic standards in your venture methodology, you can make monetary progress while keeping areas of strength for a moral compass. Your speculations become a method for abundance gathering, yet in addition an impression of your obligation to carry on with a righteous life. Organization and construct connections is a significant part of an indifferent way of thinking. Advancing the development of significant associations with guides, companions, and potential colleagues to help you on your excursion to monetary progress in the cutting-edge world. Aloofness shows the worth of social associations and the job they can play in your own and proficient development. Here is a definite investigation of how emotionlessness drives systems administration and building connections. Looking for intelligence from others, emotionlessness recognizes the significance of gaining from other people who have strolled the way before you. The indifferent looks for intelligence from tutors and consultants who can give direction and important experiences, assisting them with pursuing informed monetary choices. Shared help and fellowship. Emotionlessness underlines the idea of a philosophical local area or partnership. Building connections inside this local area permits you to track down help, fellowship, and support in your quest for monetary achievement. It's a wellspring of inspiration and shared values. Cooperative open doors. Apathetic way of thinking empowers participation and cooperation. Building solid connections can open ways to cooperate and open doors in business and ventures where similar people meet up to accomplish shared objectives, esteeming character and prudence. Emotionlessness puts major areas of strength on the person and uprightness of people. While building connections, the indifferent focuses on associations with individuals who display moral and virtues, lining up with their own unemotional standards. Versatility in connections. Apathy shows the significance of strength in connections. You are ready to confront the unavoidable highs and lows in your associations with others. This flexibility permits you to keep areas of strength even notwithstanding difficulties. Correspondence and giving aloofness empowers the idea of correspondence where you give and get support inside your organization. It's not simply about talking. It's likewise about offering assistance and help to other people, which can prompt more grounded, more significant connections. Higher standards no matter what. Emotionlessness underlines the nature of connections over their amount. As opposed to hoarding an enormous number of shallow associations, Stoics center around building profound and certifiable associations with people who share their qualities and can contribute seriously to their excursion. Mentorship and direction. Searching out tutors who line up with unemotional qualities is a critical part of building connections. These coaches can give significant direction, share their encounters, and assist you with settling on more shrewd monetary choices. Adherence to emotionless qualities while building connections. Stoics stay consistent with their standards in any event when confronted with compulsions to think twice about values for transient addition. Moral choices and idealistic ways of behaving are kept up with all through your associations. Appreciation and appreciation. Aloofness energizes appreciation and appreciation for the connections you constructed. Perceive the worth of the help, intelligence, and valuable open doors that your organization gives and offer your thanks to the people who have added to your excursion. In synopsis, systems administration and building connections as driven by unemotional way of thinking are tied in with interfacing with people who share your qualities, offer help and direction, and add to your own and monetary development. These connections are not simply conditional, however, are based on moral standards, ethicalness, and a guarantee to strength even with difficulties. By applying unemotional standards to your organization, you can track down a steady local area and significant associations that upgrade your excursion to monetary accomplishment while keeping up with your ethical compass and honesty. Keep away from connections to abundance is a critical guideline well established in unemotional way of thinking. It underscores the significance of not turning out to be excessively appended to material belongings or abundance, and is instrumental in making monetary progress with unemotional standards. Here is a definite investigation of how emotionlessness drives keeping away from connections to riches. Prudence over abundance. Apathy instructs that righteousness and astuteness are the most elevated merchandise, and they ought to outweigh the gathering of abundance. The emotionless perceives that while abundance can be a helpful asset, it ought to never think twice about trustworthiness or moral qualities rising above outer conditions. Emotionlessness reminds people that outer conditions, including abundance, are outside of their reach. by not joining one's satisfaction or self-esteem to these outer variables. Stoics discover a more profound feeling of satisfaction and versatility, paying little mind to monetary variances. Practice of self-restraint. Staying away from connections to abundance requires rehearsing self-control. Stoics practiced discretion in their spending and monetary choices, guaranteeing that they are not driven by longings for overabundance or extreme use, however, rather directed by their actual requirements and values. Embracing thriftiness. Emotionlessness supports thriftiness, which is the astute administration of assets and aversion of superfluous excess. The emotionless comprehends that plushness doesn't compare to a significant or satisfying life. By embracing moderation, they improve their lives and decrease monetary nerves. Independence from stress by not turning out to be excessively joined to riches. Stoics free themselves from the consistent concern and uneasiness that can go with the quest for material belongings. This freedom permits them to zero in on the main thing, including self-improvement, goodness, and connections. Grasping temporariness. Emotionlessness instructs that everything is temporary, including abundance. By perceiving the transient idea of material belongings, Stoics try not to put unjustifiable significance on them. This viewpoint permits them to track down dependability and genuine serenity, even despite monetary benefits and misfortunes. Forestalling veracity and the different eagerness in the fluctuates as per emotionlessness are unfavorable to one's personality and prosperity by staying away from connections to riches. Stoics check these negative characteristics and spotlight on the quest for astuteness, righteousness, and internal satisfaction. Living as per nature, apathy advances living as one with nature. This implies perceiving that material abundance is definitely not an inborn piece of our human instinct. While it very well may be a valuable device, it ought not be our only concentration by keeping away from connections to riches. Stoics live in a more noteworthy arrangement with their normal state. Perceiving the restrictions of assets. Emotionlessness shows the acknowledgement of the limits of material belongings. While abundance can give solace and security, it can't buy joy, internal harmony, or goodness. Stoics focus on these higher products over the aggregation of abundant satisfaction past abundance by keeping away from connections to riches. Stoics track down satisfaction past the amassing of material belongings. Their feeling of direction, satisfaction, and happiness gets from living temperately and as per their real essence, as opposed to from the quest for abundance for the good of its own. In outline, staying away from connections to abundance as driven by unemotional way of thinking is tied in with perceiving the temporariness of material belongings and understanding that genuine bliss and satisfaction come from carrying on with an existence of uprightness, shrewdness, and self-control. By applying these standards to your monetary excursion, you can encounter monetary accomplishment without permitting it to characterize your self-esteem or prosperity. Emotionlessness enables you to keep a decent and solid relationship with abundance, prompting a more significant and amicable life. Practice appreciation is a standard profoundly imbued in emotionless way of thinking, and it fills in as an amazing asset in developing a mentality of happiness, versatility, and appreciation, chasing monetary progress in the cutting-edge world. Here is a point-by-point investigation of how emotionlessness drives rehearsing appreciation. Acknowledgement of what's in your control. Aloofness highlights the significance of recognizing what's inside your control, and so forth. You have some control over your mentality, activities, and viewpoint. Also, one of the most remarkable ways of practicing control is through the act of appreciation by recognizing the worth of appreciation. You direct your concentration toward the positive parts of your monetary excursion, tracking down satisfaction in the present. Aloofness supports living right now, finding satisfaction with what you have, and not continually longing for more. Appreciation is a characteristic expansion of this rule. It's tied in with valuing what is going on, perceiving that abundance isn't the main proportion of overflow, and getting fulfillment from your current conditions. Flexibility notwithstanding misfortunes. Appreciation assumes a crucial part in building strength in the monetary world. Difficulties are inescapable. Stressed Zoom shows the rehearsing appreciation assists you with tracking down strength in context, even despite difficulty. As opposed to harping on monetary misfortunes, you center around the positive parts of your life and keep up with your close-to-home equilibrium, adjusting wants and needs. Aloofness urges people to offset their cravings with their certifiable necessities. By rehearsing appreciation, you gain a superior comprehension of what you genuinely need for a satisfying life, decreasing the inclination to seek after unnecessary riches or material belongings for the good of their own. Recognizing the brevity of life. Emotionlessness shows the transient idea of life, which reaches out to abundance and assets. Rehearsing appreciation implies understanding that the aggregation of abundance is transitory, and what genuinely gets through are the ethics, connections, and encounters that enhance your life. Raising moral qualities. Appreciation is firmly connected to the apathetic obligation to righteousness. By rehearsing appreciation, you become more mindful of the endowments in your day-to-day existence, including your capacity to pursue moral decisions and contribute decidedly to the world. Appreciation builds up the emotionless accentuation on moral qualities, adding to everyone's benefit. Aloofness urges people to add to everyone's benefit. Rehearsing appreciation cultivates a craving to reward society, whether through generosity, beneficent demonstrations, or supporting causes that line up with your qualities. Advancing positive collaborations. Rehearsing appreciation improves your associations with others. Communicating appreciation for their commitments and backing encourages positive connections and a feeling of local area, which is predictable with the unemotional rule of partnership. Keeping up with profound serenity. Appreciation assists you with keeping up with the profound equilibrium by perceiving and valuing the positive parts of your life. You lessen the effect of gloomy feelings, for example, tension, dread, or jealousy, which can be inconvenient to your monetary direction. Tracking down satisfaction past abundance. Emotionlessness instructs that abundance is only one part of a satisfying life. By rehearsing appreciation, you find that genuine satisfaction comes from living, prudently embracing connections and tracking down happiness right now. Your monetary achievement is viewed as a piece of a more extensive, significant life as opposed to the sole wellspring of bliss. In Rundown, rehearsing appreciation as driven by an unemotional way of thinking is tied in with developing an outlook of appreciation, satisfaction, and strength in your monetary excursion. It includes perceiving the favors in your day-to-day existence, keeping up with close-to-home equilibrium, and understanding that genuine abundance reaches out past material belonging. By embracing appreciation, you can make monetary progress while partaking in a more extravagant, seriously satisfying life lined up with unemotional qualities. Give back is a crucial guideline established in an unemotional way of thinking. Stressing the significance of adding to everyone's benefit, helping other people, and having a beneficial outcome chasing monetary progress in the cutting-edge world. Emotionlessness instructs that by offering in return, you satisfy your moral commitments, yet additionally discover a more profound feeling of direction and satisfaction in your monetary excursion. Here is a definite investigation of how emotionlessness drives offering back righteousness as the most noteworthy great. Emotionlessness places temperance as the most noteworthy great with regards to offering in return. This implies that your monetary achievement ought to line up with temperate activities by adding to everyone's benefit. You practice a type of prudence and moral living appreciation for normal mankind. Emotionlessness stresses that all people share a typical bond and ought to be treated with deference and sympathy. Offering back is a sign of this standard as it reflects an affirmation of your obligation to help others and advance prosperity in the public eye. Offering thanks. The act of appreciation, which is vital to aloofness, includes perceiving your gifts, yet in addition offering thanks through activity. By offering in return, you offer your thanks for the open doors and assets that have added to your monetary achievement. Moral obligation. Emotionlessness advances the possibility of moral obligation. This implies perceiving your obligation to involve your assets to improve others and society. Your monetary achievement isn't simply a way to increase. It conveys an ethical commitment to have a constructive outcome on magnanimity and noble cause. Apathy urges individual wills to take part in demonstrations of generosity and noble cause, imparting their assets to those out of luck. This is driven by the apathetic obligation to ideals and empathy too, as the longing to lighten, enduring, and advance human prosperity. Supporting moral causes. Offering in return, as per sources, includes supporting and drives that line up with your moral and moral qualities. This incorporates adding to projects that advance equity, supportability, instruction, and the improvement of society. Satisfaction through assistance. Emotionlessness instructs that genuine satisfaction comes from serving others and having a constructive outcome on the world. By offering in return, you discover a feeling of direction and satisfaction past the quest for riches or material achievement. Flexibility and internal harmony. Demonstrations of giving can improve flexibility and internal harmony by zeroing in on the prosperity of others and everyone's benefit. You can explore monetary mishaps and difficulties with more prominent self-control and composure. Local area and association. The emotionless way of thinking accentuates the worth of local area and cooperation. By offering in return, you add to a feeling of local area and shared values, cultivating good connections and an encouraging group of people with your unemotional standards. Utilizing abundance for good. Emotionlessness urges people to involve their monetary accomplishment as a way to a righteous end. Offering back is a method for utilizing your abundance to improve society, and it builds up the unemotional conviction that abundance ought to act as an instrument for moral and moral living. In rundown, offering back as driven by emotionless way of thinking is tied in with utilizing your monetary accomplishment to add to everyone's benefit and have a constructive outcome on society. It mirrors your obligation to temperance, empathy, and moral qualities, while likewise giving a significant sense of inspiration and satisfaction. By rehearsing this rule in your monetary excursion, you can make progress that reaches out past private increase, making a tradition of positive impact and prosperity for other people. Buying into our feed is a fantastic chance for watchers. By joining our Harmony Expert People group, you'll get a day-to-day portion of inspiration and direction established in an unemotional way of thinking. Our substance is intended to engage you, assisting you with exploring life's difficulties with astuteness and strength through quick recordings and drawing in conversations. We offer significant bits of knowledge that can emphatically affect your excursion to monetary achievement and self-improvement. Try not to pass up this opportunity to be important for our local area, where similar people meet up to track down motivation and reasonable exhortation. Buy in today and set out on an extraordinary excursion towards a really satisfying and prosperous life.